All right. Without further ado, I'd love to get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Students, parents, judges, and esteemed guests, welcome to the inaugural Beta Camp Demo Day. Other than the folks that are brought on stage, which are the lovely students presenting, and our baller judges, we can't hear you, but I'm imagining you're all giving us a thunderous round of applause and potentially a standing ovation. Before we get started, I just want to quickly mention how impressed I am with each team that will be presenting today. The growth and dedication showcased over the past 6 weeks is insane. You guys have done what many are too scared to try. You went out, you built, failed, reiterated, got rejected, and accomplished, all with a smile on your face. You have all showcased to me that you have long and impressive journeys ahead of you. Don't forget about the silly community builder who just kept asking you to fill out surveys nonstop when you guys become the CEOs of the next game-changing companies of the future. I'll be knocking on your door. So I would like to introduce our baller-esque judges, and first and foremost, thank them for their time and for joining us today. We have judges Daniela Pico and Jonathan Shu. I would just like to make sure that everyone is here on the panel today. Can our judges please unmute and just show that you're here?
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet everybody. I'm Daniela.
Thank you, Daniela. I'm going to quickly get Jonathan on here to join you. Perfect. Hello,
Hey.
Jonathan. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'll give you
Excited
guys,
for this.
Yeah, no worries. I'll give you guys some quick introductions. So Daniela is a community director at Forum Ventures, the leading early stage fund program and community for B2B SaaS startups. She was previously the strategic partnerships lead at outlier.org. And we also are joined by Jonathan, who is on the operations team at Balance Discovery, building the world's most powerful chemistry engine, unlocking new therapeutic options for intractable diseases. He was previously director of investments at Front Row Ventures. I'll give you guys a second to quickly say hi and introduce yourselves. I'm sure my introductions did not do you any justice given how wonderful you both are. So feel free to share a little bit about yourselves before we get going.
John, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can start. Thanks for the introduction, Sarah. But yeah, I mean, that basically covers it. I recently graduated from the University of Waterloo, and I spent 3.5 years at Front Row. We were a student-run venture fund that focused investing strictly into student entrepreneurs, and hopefully I'll be able to give some good advice or some good feedback to help you guys succeed in the next steps of your journey. But super excited for the presentations today.
Awesome. And I can chime in as well. So that was a great introduction. The only thing I would add is I've been around startups for a while as an operator, and now in the venture side of things, very excited to hear all of your pitches and just really excited about how early you're starting to build things. I think it's always awesome to get that practice, and I feel like it will serve you throughout your life. So really excited.
Yeah, totally. Thank you guys so much for your time again today. I would like to ask the first team who's going to present if there's anyone else you're missing that I can quickly promote to panelists before we begin.
Yeah, we have one more person who should be in the Zoom. I think he's Andy Vo.
Yeah, I think his name though on Zoom is JONYHSU. So Roy.
All right, Andy is joining us now. Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to be starting with Team 7. Their team consists of Andy Vo, Lola Coco, Aiden Pearl, Mark Antony, Jun Sin, and Avani Prasad. So no spoilers on what their company does. They'll be getting into that, but just a quick rundown of what the structure of today's webinar will look like. Each team will have 10 minutes for their pitch and then 10 minutes for the judges to provide them with questions and feedback. I'll be a bit of a dork about the time, so apologies in advance, but I will be keeping us on track, 10 minutes and 10 minutes. Just a friendly reminder that only panelists will have access to the chat. So if you're not a panelist and would like to share your comments with any of the panelists, feel free to use the Q&A box below as a sort of chat box for yourself. So without further ado, I'm pleased to open the floor up to Team 7. Take it over.
Hello, everyone. We're the Baby Crate Company.
We are 6 young entrepreneurs who have identified issues with the supply of baby clothes and are looking to expand our business of Baby Crate Co.
So, most people know that raising children is expensive, time consuming, and just plain difficult. Imagine a woman, a single mom. She has 2 young kids and is on a tight budget. She's trying her best to get her kids new clothes, but it can be so expensive, and she doesn't have any family in the city to get hand-me-downs from. Once her kids grow out of the clothes, it feels like such a waste of money because she usually throws it all away. Her name is Lizzie, and her dilemma is one that the 250,000 single parents in New York City can relate to. For us to take one thing off her plate can mean a lot, and to do this while being sustainable and environmentally friendly is what parents want and need.
The chart shows growth in the first 24 months of a newborn's life. Parents are buying clothes on a monthly basis as the baby grows. New parents aren't able to rely on hand-me-downs, so they are forced to continue to buy new clothes, which is not economically stable. The Baby Crate Company provides a fun, economic, and reliable subscription service that removes the hassle from buying baby clothes by delivering a new box with fresh clothes as your baby grows.
So more about Baby Crate Co. It is a secondhand baby clothes and accessories service for new parents. And we find quality items to keep your baby looking fresh and clean while saving you some green. We are extremely versatile with our business and will cover all the clothing responsibilities for your baby. We give customers a cheaper, seamless way to provide fashionable clothing for their children. They won't have to spend time picking out clothes. And our subscription service offers a box that grows to your baby and accommodates for the weather as well as holidays. It can also support environmental sustainability. Can send back their baby clothes that can be reused for new children. We want buying clothes for children to be sustainable, like thrifting, as well as easy and not expensive.
Our box grows with your baby. On our subscription plan, we send a box of clothes automatically to our customer every 3 months. As their baby grows, we provide new clothes so that you don't have to spend your time shopping.
We see parents are comfortable purchasing secondhand clothing, so we're capitalizing on the fact that millennials, who account for most new parents, are the primary customers in the secondhand apparel market. In addition, 86% of parents would purchase secondhand clothing for their children. Over 1 in 4 Americans would even choose to dress their child in a secondhand outfit for their first day of school photo. Now that we know parents are interested, we were able to create a solution, and that's how Baby Crate Co. was born.
Our MVP is currently a website in which customers can order baby crates for their babies. There are several different sizes depending on the age and size of their baby. We've broken down our business model into 4 steps. In this process, our customers first place their order for a box on our website. After we receive the order, we obtain our clothing online. We source the clothing to begin with, but hope to incorporate a return policy in which we will receive clothing from our customers back to recycle. Once we have the clothing necessary, we put together our crate and deliver it to the customer. 3 months after the first order, we send the customer a new box that will fit their now 3-month-older baby and charge them accordingly through our subscription service. Our business model is centered around our subscription service, which provides a lifetime customer value as customers essentially continually purchase our product every 3 months. As mentioned earlier, our box grows with you and your baby. In the future, we also plan to implement a return option in which customers can return used clothes for money. This lowers our costs while also being more environmentally sustainable. While we currently operate in NYC, we will soon expand to the rest of the East Coast. Our expansion is only limited by our shipping capabilities.
We charge $39.99 per box, and it costs us $25 to make each box. And once we incorporate clothing returns on our items, we expect our costs to reduce.
To market our products, we plan to use mainly social media marketing, mainly Facebook and Instagram. So why social media? 91% of parents are on social media, and most of them spend over 2 hours each day on it. Another way we are marketing the company is physically going to daycare centers, mommy and me classes, and other places new parents visit to try to get more people aware of our business.
Our team's MVP is a newborn and toddler clothing box that is targeted at new parents. We've set ourselves apart by allowing our box to go alongside the baby and the parent. What this means is that we've set up a subscription model that delivers new clothes as your baby grows. We manage the clothes shopping for you so that you don't have to worry about it. We want to focus on outreach and expanding our customer base. Our hope is to reach 5 superfans before the end of the month. And to get these 5 superfans, we want to really target our marketing towards parents. We plan on doing this through Instagram ads, specifically targeted ads, focused Facebook groups, and also subreddits. The long-term vision is to stop the wastefulness and overconsumption, specifically of baby clothes, which only get worn for a short amount of time as children are always growing. We plan to roll out a feature sometime in the coming months that allows parents to return their baby clothes for future discounts and site bonuses. Not only would this build brand loyalty, but it would also allow us to cut down on the cost of our boxes, since we would be able to reuse the clothing that the parents sent back.
Our major competitors are large reselling sites or online marketplaces, such as Surprisely, Depop, Kidbox, Birth Babies, etc. We had to differentiate from these large, incredible platforms, but we're different, and this is why.
What makes us different is 3 main reasons: that we grow with your baby, that we're customizable, and we have a return option. Our edge in the market is that we have made shopping seamless. Our boxes grow with your baby, so as the baby grows, we automatically adjust the size of the clothes. So every 3 months, we'll change the size automatically and send you the box. This reduces a lot of stress for the parents. Also, our boxes are customizable. So based on whatever weather or holiday the box is bought, we will customize their box. For example, if a customer buys a box in winter, we'll provide them with winter clothes. And if they buy it in summer, there'll be more summer clothes and warm clothes. We also plan to incorporate a return option for the clothes. The US trashes 14 million tons of clothes a year. By paying customers to return their clothes, we reduce waste and increase customer satisfaction. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you so much, team, for sharing Baby Crate Co. with all of us here watching. I will now open up the floor to our judges, Daniela and Jonathan. This time is yours, so I'll leave it up to you on how you'd like to divide it between Q&A as well as feedback.
Yeah, I can start. So in terms of like general feedback, I think you guys did a really good job with the structure of the presentation in terms of identifying the problem, having some really good stats to really back it up and quantify the problem, as well as the rest of the structure of the presentation. I think was really awesome to tie in an entire story and narrative. So really good job on that. I did have some like small specific questions though. So in terms of the secondhand clothes, where exactly are you getting them from?
Currently, with our MVP, we're not getting secondhand clothing. We're mainly shopping on sites like Amazon or Wish and things like that to get relatively affordable clothing. But in the future, we plan to incorporate some level of thrifting or some level of just going around to parents that we know just to incorporate secondhand clothing into our boxes so that we can push our costs down.
Okay, gotcha. In terms of I think there was a slide or a stat talking about how the idea of thrifting secondhand clothes for a baby is well received. I was just curious, was that like a market info that you just found online, or is that through talking with new parents and doing some user interviews and whatnot?
It's from both. So we conducted market research and we found that also that even most millennials, in fact, they enjoy thrifting. They're more geared toward it, and also from prior experience. So yeah, both.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess like one thing that I would change or add to the presentation, or I'm not sure like where you guys are at on this, but I feel like in my opinion, like for super early stage companies where you're not exactly raising a lot of funding and you're just getting the idea off the ground, like most of the efforts should be focused on validating the problem. And I think it would be good for future iterations of this, or if you guys haven't done so already, but just talking to as many users as possible in the beginning is I think what you guys should be focused on, and then really highlighting that in the slides. It's really powerful to say, hey, we went out and talked to 200 new parents in New York. We consistently heard these 3 common pieces of feedback or pain points that they were dealing with. And then through there, we started building a small community of new parents that we could release to when our MVP is ready. Because that's all stuff that doesn't require lots of money to get started. It's really good to think about what are the next steps once we're ready to take this off the ground. But I think for me, like what's really important to see is like, how many users did you guys talk to? Yes, it's good to supplement direct user interviews with market research you found online, but it's always good to see, oh, hey, this team has talked to X number of people, got this much insights, and are going to now use this to iterate on the product. I think that's something that would be.
Yeah, I think all of those are really helpful comments. I had a couple of questions to just add to that. You broke down the cost of the box and the operations of your margin or the calculations of your margin, but I'm just wondering how you're thinking about accounting for the cost of operations of the business. Like, for example, you mentioned that you would have ads on Instagram, you have to pay for those. So have you thought about like the calculations for your acquisition costs and your cost of business logistics, like storage of clothing, anything like that?
As far as logistics go, a lot of this is obviously managed by us because we're still very early on. But like storage and things like that are pretty much just managed by us. It's not being held anywhere else. So there's no real expenses there. And then with Facebook ads and Instagram ads, we're working up to those as we make sales. But currently, we're just using our Instagram account and our social medias, TikTok, Facebook. We're just using those and hoping those reach the right audience. But in the future, as we grow, we definitely want to get more into targeted ads because we've really niched down the people that we're working with.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Johnny and what he said. I think that it would be really helpful to get more market research understanding, especially understanding of the competitive landscape. I think some of the competitors you outlined were good, but tangentially out of your space. Like definitely looking at competitors that are more in the baby product, baby subscription box space could be helpful. The other thing I would point out is just, I don't know how you came to calculating the cost of the box, but definitely looking at equivalent products and trying to compare. You may have done some of that already, but trying to compare where your pricing really sits in that competitive landscape, which is not so much like where do parents acquire baby clothing, but where do they sign up for these sort of like premium subscription products?
Yeah, I'm also curious about how did the six of you decide on this idea? Like why baby clothes and the idea of thrifting and recycling and secondhand baby clothes, like at least to me is like a pretty niche business idea. So I'd be curious as to how you guys came about discovering this problem and if there are like personal reasons as to why this is something that you're extremely interested in and are willing to build a project in this specific space.
So I think when we were brainstorming, like we were thinking about thrifting originally, just as a general area of interest, because it's like as a market, like growing so rapidly and becoming more and more popularized. But we were having a difficult idea because there are big reselling platforms such as Depop and like Etsy. So it's hard to find a service or make a new service and enter into that market. But we are thinking of niching it down maybe to athletic wear. So we're going back and forth about that. And then we just landed on baby clothes.
And when we started to really look into the baby clothes market and industry, we realized just like how much time is taken up like for new parents, and you have to empathize because they're buying clothes so consistently for the kids, and it's decently wasteful, and it's something that I don't know, we identified as an issue, and we all thought that there could definitely be made improvements in that area.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's something worth like I'm not sure where this project is going to go after the demo day. Hopefully you guys continue to work on it and maybe raise some funds to progress this. But I think one thing you guys should add to the slides or to the presentation is like something about the team, right? Where it's like you guys are super early stage and you guys are all high school students right now. Like you're not going to have a team slide saying, okay, hey, our team has 35 years of combined experience in this. Like, it's not going to be like that, which is fine because no one's going to expect that. But like a brief section on, hey, like, why do we care about secondhand clothes? Why do we care about thrifting? And there's lots of companies right now in specific industries where being young and being in the space is like an advantage. Just look at all the Gen Z TikTok stuff, like consumer facing apps and those sorts of companies where it's you are, in this case, you're not going to be the actual user, hopefully not anytime soon, but that's like an advantage for you guys, right? If you build this narrative of, hey, like we're a team, like we pick this space because we thrift a lot outside of just like baby clothes, but we understand we understand the industry, we understand how it works, and we thought this would apply well to the baby space. That's something to think about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had that comment in the written feedback. It'd be good to understand just you all a little bit better and what drives you. One of the things that investors are always looking at is what we call product founder fit. And so is there something that connects you to to the problem you're trying to solve, or do you have a deeper understanding of that market? So would really suggest, if you are interested in continuing with this, not just shaping the story around why the product matters, but why you are the right person to be solving this problem. Do you have any questions for us? Anything you're wondering about that you're curious on getting specific feedback on?
Sounds
How do you suggest, oh, sorry, Ava,
Oh,
you
sorry.
can go. Okay, how do you suggest we expand better? You mentioned like Instagram and targeted ads. Is there any other viable way you'd see like we could expand as a business?
I think this really comes down to your market research, right? One of the things you're trying to figure out when you do market research is, for example, where are our customers and where are they acquiring products? I think one thing I would encourage you to do is explore not just direct to consumer pathways, but business to business opportunities. For example, is this something that we can sell to employers to offer to their newborn employees? Really considering like where not newborn employees that have babies. Hopefully no one's hiring newborns, but just really thinking about like where you can get scale. Business to consumer brands are great. And obviously a lot of the brands we interact with are direct to consumer, but they do pose a different challenge to scale. Some things that come to mind right away are, for example, the cost of customer acquisition is pretty high and consistent. And so really thinking about that, I think your instinct of thinking about how you can build community around it by going to like mommy and me classes, or it really is for, if I was you, I'd be thinking about how do we create word of mouth around our products so that it has those like inherent ways to scale that don't cost you any additional money. I don't know, Johnny, if you would have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, and I just saw the note on the time, but no, I totally agree. I think it does just at the end of the day come down to market research. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen a lot of early stage teams make is like really focusing on the product and growing the business, but not really spending time on validating that this is a problem worth solving. If you do enough market research, like you might get to the path where it's like, you know what, maybe this isn't a problem that's worth a solution, but at least you'll save time down the line instead of just heads down, like how do we scale, how do we grow, how do we continue to build, but really understand like the market you're in, validating the problem and talking to as many users as possible.
Before we go, since we only have like a minute left, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the feedback and the advice. It's so helpful, obviously. Can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
no worries.
you so
Awesome.
much.
All right, thank you so much for presenting, team. I'm now going to invite the next team to present. Thank you, judges, for your continued participation and engagement with this session today. 2 for 4. And
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Just gonna mute that.
all right, so I would like to invite the next team up to the stage. So this is team 10 and their startup is called Tour Uni. And today we have presenting Ariane Lin, Natalie Yu, Noor Sayed, and Palace Shen. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to share my screen if it lets me to do.
18% of first-year university students go into their degree programs unsure, and 47% change their major at least once during enrollment. The main problem these statistics show is the fact that high school students are often unsure or uncertain about their university and don't have access to the personalized information they need. Note that sessions offered by universities are free, but they are standardized and generalized and often run out of time to answer everyone's specific questions. Planned campus tours are personalized, but it is usually unaffordable for many high school students to attend. After conducting numerous surveys and interviews, we've discovered the key problems many students have. They needed direct contact and conversations with university students to help them have a deeper insight into their programs and talking to students already attending their university about campus life and the overall outlook of the university. Introducing Tour Uni. We're affordable and personalized to our students' needs and offer sessions to help high school students have access to personalized information about universities to help them have a deeper insight of campus life and the overall programs.
So what is the mission and vision of Tour Uni? Our mission is to help high school students further understand student life and program details by meeting with students from their dream universities. And we want to become the leading organization in providing access to in-depth university information to high school students. But how are we going to achieve this? We're going to offer informative sessions for high school students run by college students, and this is what our sessions look like. Each session is going to be an hour long, and 15 to 20 minutes will be dedicated for the college student to give an introduction about themselves, talk about their education and student life experience. Then 40 to 45 minutes will be dedicated for the high school student to ask any questions they may have. And all these sessions will be done virtually. So if high school students are interested, how can they sign up? So for our MVP, we have a Google form open where they can choose the college students they want to talk to. Then they'll be led to a Calendly page where they can choose a session time that works for them. And also on the Google form is a link to pay via PayPal. But why Tour Uni? Many high school students don't have LinkedIn and a large network, so it's very hard for them to connect with high quality students that can provide informative sessions. And we also provide all of our college students with guidelines to ensure that all of our sessions are high quality. So how are we promoting our sessions to high school students? Currently, our main method of outreach has been through organic marketing, but we've also been building a strong online presence, such as posting regularly on our Instagram page, touruni.co, and managing our website, also touruni.co. It has over 300 website visits and is a crucial part in informing our students about Tour Uni.
Okay, so that was the clean and organized part of our marketing. Our main source of income of customers come through organic marketing. So under that very fancy name, it basically means our network plus the people we're reaching out to. After doing some research, we found that we could find college students mainly on LinkedIn and high school students from our network, of course, and Reddit and Discord. That's when we started reaching out to a lot of people. What I mean by a lot is this. Yeah, a lot of people. So this is a compilation of all the positive feedback we got and positive answers. So there is a real demand. Okay, I'd be lying if I was saying that everything was going well. No, we do face a lot of rejection. I want to be honest with you. So we got a lot of rejection like that. But I want to drag your attention to this Orzonus person. So he started by saying some really, let's say, bad stuff about us. I'm not going to read this out loud, but we turned this into a I'll definitely save this website. So we integrated his feedback and are moving closer to our product market fit. There is a real demand in our customers. Now let's talk about the real stuff, money. How are we making money out of this? So all the numbers on this slide are backed by surveys, interviews, and feedback from our customers that we got. So those are reliable numbers. We're charging $10 per high school students and are opening our sessions from 3 students and up to 4 because we want to keep that personalized aspect of our sessions. This trade gives us $30 to $40 of income per session. The college student takes $24 and we are left with $16 of profit for each session for only $18 of cost for the website per year. We only need 2 sessions to be profitable. As of right now, our MVP and marketing has been a huge success. We have 5 confirmed college students and 9 clients. We're going to break that down in the following slides. So as I mentioned, 5 confirmed college students. I'm not going to go into details because that's going to be boring, but they come from both the UK and the US and from very prestigious colleges.
For MVP, we launched our very first Tour Uni session. And as you can see in the first screenshot, we had a little pre-session prep with our university student, Kine Wang, and went over basically how the session would run and stuff he needed to know before the session started. Once students started trickling in, Kine shared his screen and he started presenting about the University of Pennsylvania, including student life, the campus, as well as program details. And after that, we immediately jumped into the Q&A section of our session, and the students asked Kine all the questions they had, either from his presentation or any additional questions about admissions. At the end of the session, we gave them a feedback form. And as you can see on this graph, all of our students rated us a 9 or a 10. And this is really positive feedback that we hope to continue to keep this quality for all our future sessions at Tour Uni. So here are some of our testimonials that we also got through our feedback form. As you can see, students thought that the university student was an absolute delight, that they gained valuable insight, that it was well organized, it was not slow or boring, clear and concise, as well as that the university student was really open to them. So for some competitive differentiation, so on the left, we can see university offered sessions, and these sessions are usually for free, but they can often be generalized and standardized and focus way too much on the application process as well as the campus. A lot of students also that we found through our interviews and surveys commented that these sessions sometimes don't allow them the time to talk to the students or talk more in depth about the student life or their program details. Next is our other competitor on the right, Luck. Luck has a really similar service to us, is that they offer sessions with university students, except they're more focused on virtual tours. Luck is also more expensive and costly, so they're less affordable than Tour Uni. And lastly is indirect competition, which are the organized trips and planned tours within your own community. For example, if you wanted to plan a trip to North American universities with your friends and family, this is usually really costly and time consuming because not only do you have to handle all the logistics of planning when to visit the university, you also have to pay for the trip as well as pay for the stay. But at Tour Uni, we offer accessible online meetings that are affordable and personalized to our students. Here's our market size. So our total addressable market is 220 million students, and that is all the students in the world who want to go to university. Our serviceable addressable market is around 510,000 students. And we got this number from students, high school students that want to go to university in Ontario and Paris. And this is geographically confined because this is where we as the co-founders are located. And lastly, serviceable obtainable market, which is around 8,000 students. This is made up of every student that is in our high schools as well as in our direct network. Here are some future additions to our uni. First, we'd like to introduce a Tour Uni newsletter, which is a newsletter ranging from topics about university rankings to an overview of specific university or program. And this will be sent to an email list. We want to introduce a newsletter because we think it will keep a consistent presence for our customers if they keep on having consistent updates like either monthly or weekly about Tour Uni. Next, we want to introduce our Tour Uni podcast, which are recorded interviews with university students as well as other special guests related to education. They can talk about their experience as well as application process. And lastly, we would like to introduce in-person meetings, which are setting up a high school student and a university student for a one-on-one coffee chat. For now, we're focused on online sessions, as we said before, but as Tour Uni expands and more people happen to be in the same area and are committed enough to meet up, we think that offering one-on-one chats would give even more personalized session for these students. So for our growth plan, step 1 is to introduce the newsletter and create an email list. This is the easiest step. That's why it's the first step. And step 2 is to market our referral program. And our referral program is basically when you refer 3 friends, you get 1 Tour Uni session for free. And this is to incentivize more people to sign up as well as more people to know what Tour Uni is in the first place. Step 3 is to expand internationally to market to high schoolers around the world. Step 4 is to introduce a podcast. And lastly, step 5 is to run in-person meetings around the world.
Meet the ambitious students behind the Tour Uni team. It's me, Noor Sayed, Palace Shen, Orion Lin, and Natalie Yu. We all have experience with marketing and leadership opportunities and are very passionate about Tour Uni. We are continuously using feedback to improve our sessions. Thank you for attending this session. We have now reached the question period. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have.
Thank you. I love the coordinated backgrounds. You all look wonderful. This is like very near and dear to my heart problem. Something we didn't mention in the intros that my background is in EdTech. So this is actually a problem I know quite well. So congratulations. Can confirm this is a true problem. I'm curious what you all did to explore the competitive landscape and how you identified, or if you identified anybody who's currently doing this same type of work.
Yeah, so we explored the competitive landscape through just online research as well as because we're all high schoolers, right? So we all have seen a few of the options out there. And as we said before, Luck is our main competitor because they're really similar, except not only do they offer a chat, they also do online tours, but they're more expensive than tours.
There's actually another company, if you're interested in continuing this work, they're called Halp. They're also Ontario based, and they started off with a really similar model to what you're proposing. So it's worth, I think, exploring their growth journey as well, because I think their focus right now is on international student support. The other question I had for you all was, how did you decide that workshop models versus one-to-one calls was the right approach?
We started by saying that personalization should be our main focus. And then afterwards, after conducting both market research, competitive research, we found that affordability could be added. So our 2 main points, like marketing arguments, are we're super personalized. So all the questions are going to be answered. It's not a standardized thing like university tours, because those are free and we're $10. So both affordable and informative. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's worth probably considering different methods and pricing. Again, if you are interested in continuing with this, like for example, would people pay more if it was a one-to-one consultation versus a workshop session? The other thing, and then I'll pass it over to Johnny, I would really consider for the presentation quantifying your market research. What did you do? How many people did you speak to? What regions were those people in? Because that really helps us from an evaluator perspective understand like how much did you really look into this problem? And also, what are the potential areas you're seeing and how do you validate them? And you did some of that, I think, that slideshow where you put up that you had talked to people and what they had said. And that was good, even understanding like what are common objections of the customer. All of those things are really valuable. But if you can't quantify your work, it's okay. Maybe I went out and talked to my cousin and then they said this was a good idea. Or maybe I went out and talked to 300 people. Those are very different. So I would really suggest adding some of those elements. And then I'll pass it to you, John.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with what Daniela was saying. That was something that, I noticed as well. I feel like it's going to be something that, it has been something that we've seen in the past team as well, is really doubling down on problem validation and talking to users. But yeah, along the lines of quantifying your information. First of all, fantastic presentation. And this was definitely a problem that I also went through as a student. And so I can fully understand where you guys are coming from. But from like the quantification standpoint, you guys gave a lot of general statements around there's demand, this is what people are saying. What would be important, at least for me to see, is what are some of the specific unique insights that maybe you've come away from after conducting these interviews? It seems like you guys have talked to a lot of people. And I would recommend like spending more time really breaking down, okay, what are some of the questions that we ask? What are some of the unique insights that we've developed? Because those unique insights are going to drive the way that you eventually build this company. There was also a slide where you gave some testimonials where some of the initial users were rating the session. Try to convert that to an NPS score or something that's like a standardized quantitative metric that you can use and people will easily understand. I'm not saying eliminate the testimonials. It's always good to have those, but to have a standard metric like an NPS score would be really useful to communicate the value add that you guys are bringing. The other thing that I would say is spend more time talking about the team. You guys had a team slide, which is really good at the end. I would even suggest pulling the team slide earlier on in the presentation, because you guys, like, typically for really early stage startups that are being run by really young people, it's hard to talk about, hey, I have domain expertise or I have a lot of experience in this space. But in the company that you guys are building, like, you guys are going to be the users, right? Like, you're currently students. Like, talk about that. Talk about how you're going through the problem. This is why you want to solve this specific problem, because you go through these challenges on a day-to-day basis. Even going through like a user persona would be interesting. What's a typical journey of that an existing student would go through? But really leveraging that, because you're currently all students right now, is, I think, could be very powerful. The other thing that I will say is the initiative part that you guys are working on in terms of adding and additions of the newsletter and the podcast, because I think this is something that as it grows will probably be very community driven, especially when you're targeting high school students and whatnot. So I really like that. Newsletters, podcasts, maybe blog posts. Those are all ways to foster a strong community. Maybe getting everybody on a Slack channel, on a Discord channel would be interesting as well. But maybe even think about TikTok as a platform, right? Like, most high school students are on TikTok. A 60-second spotlight on a specific university student around, hey, this is what I'm doing. Maybe you're interested, as a way to pull people onto the platform. The last thing that I'll say is, as a marketplace, you'll always have off-platform connections, which is fine. That's like natural to every platform. But think about how you want to make yourself an integral part of this process besides just being a connector. And what I mean by like off-platform connections is, right now you would technically be making money by connecting a student with a university student. But there's nothing stopping a university student from just like getting the information and then connecting like off the platform. That's fine. All platforms will have a baseline of that. But look at other platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, like Airbnb. Like, what else have they done to make themselves an integral part of the process, where it's a little bit harder just to connect off platform, and you would want to use their platform as a medium, even if you already have the contact information of the other person. This is something I'll leave you guys with. But other than that, yeah, I think it was a really awesome presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we supposed to ask questions or?
Yeah, feel free. Yeah, I think we have minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, I'll do quick. About the NPS score, so basically we had 3 9 and 3 10s. That would give like 100%. But should we just put like 100% with no context? Because I feel like it's kind of
So
wrong.
an NPS score is measured a little bit differently. The question is, how likely would you be to recommend this to a colleague or friend? So it's not necessarily a rating. And the background on NPS scores, NPS score means Net Promoter Score. What it measures is a company's ability. Really, there's different formats of it too. That's not the only way. Another one is like, how disappointed would you be if the service no longer existed? So I think to Johnny's point, what I would look at is just how do you quantify that positivity? And NPS is a like standard way to measure them. So even consider like sending out actual NPS score surveys to your user base and getting that feedback back. Because there's a very big difference between, oh yeah, I like TourUni, they're cool, but I don't trust them enough to recommend them to a friend of mine. And so it helps you uncover some of those potential issues, or maybe you're like crushing it, and then that's a great thing to add to your slideshow.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I totally misunderstood what NPS meant.
It's okay.
So you both mentioned a lot of additions to our pitch, but I just wanted to ask what parts of our actual pitch right now could be deleted, because that's a lot of content and we almost went overboard this time, I think. So about time management and how can we more effectively put more information in less time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's also rare that you'll get a full 10 minutes to really pitch something. I think what really matters is your problem statement, your proposed solution, and proof points, and founder fit. Like really where I would start is quick introductions of yourself, answering the question, why are we the people to solve this problem? How do we understand this market better than anybody else? Then what is the problem? How are we solving it? And then how do we know we are solving it effectively? If you can answer those questions, that's the pitch. Like you don't need to go above and beyond that. I don't know, Johnny, if you agree with that or if there's something you want to.
Totally agree. I know we're out of time. Last thing that I'll say is, usually you'll get 2 to 3 minutes max to pitch your company. And I would say, if you're going to cut details out from like the specific business model, cut details out from like the specific pricings and how you're going to operate, because that's for sure going to change over time. Really just double down on the team, the problem, market size, and an investor will like, you can say all the numbers you want around like, here's how much money we're going to make, here's our specific price points. An investor will understand that you guys are so early, this will change for sure. So if you have to cut details, I'd cut details from there.
All right, thank you so much, team, for presenting today. Really looking forward to seeing where you guys take TourUni, and thank you, judges, for your feedback. So I'm going to bring you guys back to attendees, but amazing presentation.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you. Sorry for taking so much time.
All right, and now I'm going to invite the next team to come up onto the stage to begin their presentation. So thank you everyone for your patience. All right, I believe that's it. So next up, we have Team 11 with the startup Wellspace Interiors. And today we have James Neski, Kali Gupta, Isha Jyoti Prakash, Michael Lipnitsky, Sydney Gilly, and Tanishka Ganjavelli presenting today. So take it away whenever you guys are ready.
All right, Callie, do you want to pull up the slides?
Yep, got it.
Hey everybody, so we're Wellspace Interiors, and we think that you need to redo your workplace for your own well-being. This is our team. We have Isha, who's a really fantastic team member, Callie, Tanishka, Michael, James, and me. We do think that we were some of the best people to tackle the issue that we found and to build up this business, just because we were all devoted and we all have experience in positions of leadership, and we found a real niche in doing. So we really found that, especially during COVID, with the giant influx of remote workers, that they began suffering from similar issues, mental and physical, where they experienced back pain, they gained illnesses quicker, their mental health suffered poorly, and in turn, their job performance suffered. And we really wanted to think about how we could combat that, just because there was such a giant, there was so many reports about it, about people gaining more illnesses, people getting sicker, people's mental health suffering because they're working from home and they can't seem to separate it. So we wanted to look into that problem.
So to illustrate that problem, we'd like you to meet someone. Meet Jim. Jim works for Ingle Tech Solutions, and during COVID, they went remote. So now he's stuck working out of his dining room. He doesn't have a proper office space. He's really just stressed out about his work, and he seems to be working all the time, like he can't stop. And then on top of that, he's suffering from back pain, a reduced attention span, and little access to natural light or fresh air. And he's really just been trying to figure out how to make his work-life balance better and how to see if there's any solution to his problem. So he knows that improving his workspace and kind of adjusting his environment could really help him, but he has no idea where to start. He doesn't know what kind of office setup he wants, and he really doesn't know where he should be looking for that kind of advice. So that kind of led us to our solution. We were wondering if there was someone out there who could help Jim understand his options and figure out where he could go from there. And we figured out that the perfect person for that would be an interior designer focused specifically on wellness, who could act as a private consultant and kind of talk Jim through the requirements necessary to build a workspace that really just worked for him and worked for him personally, which led us to our platform. We're going to connect interior designers with traditionally millennials and younger people just breaking into the workspace, working remotely, to build that kind of connection that can give them a better workspace.
And so we designed our business model to be pretty simple. That is, we are a marketplace-based platform where we connect the customer who's a prospective gym looking for a way to maximize their at-home workspace to a willing interior designer based on their tastes, preferences, and specific needs. Our only cost at this stage of time would be time lost in order to facilitate these user-specific matches. We plan to make profit by charging a flat fee for the matching service once we're through the MVP stage of our service. And we further plan to evolve our business model in the future to ensure changes such as adding premium subscriptions or commissions that allow our users to be able to customize their needs and find exactly what they're looking for in a seamless partnership. Our go-to market plan consists of 4 main steps. We first start with connecting. Our first step is to find and connect with small and upcoming, but also practiced interior designers who are interested in our service. We do this by actively scouting these interior designers on social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. Our next step is tracking. We keep track of key information given by these interested interior designers and like their specific skill sets and areas of expertise. Our third step is then to advertise. We advertise our services to the customer base through social media groups like Facebook, which offer access to online communities based on productivity and work from home hacks where our potential customers are most active. And finally, we match by viewing a potential customer and taking in their needs, tastes, and preferences, as well as interior designer skill sets to match the customer with a reliable interior designer.
As an MVP, we made sure to keep things as minimalist as possible and really make sure we have the basic foundation of our business. Our website provides a space for clients to get information and contact info. Most of our business model revolves around the service of reaching out and finding designers for customers and vice versa. We created a website to provide a space for customers to see what we have to offer and contact us. Here's a demo of our website in action. Our MVP model is very simple. In the center, we have WellSpace Interiors, which gathers all the information on designers and customers on a spreadsheet. Phone numbers, emails, locations, and personal taste and style are all things we track and take note of. We then evaluate both our interior designers and customers and match them up by exchanging contact info between them.
So what we have to offer is a service that directly targets millennials working from home that need a better workspace. We achieve this by having the following: an affordable service, which is directed mainly towards workspaces, which has lower offers and charges due to lower amounts of work. An online platform so that clients can work with us from home. A tailored service so we can match clients up based on their tastes and skill sets. A specific problem that needs to be fixed, which is a poorly designed and organized workspace. A platform that finds people and connects them, and a specific category of people we wish to work with. So now let's move on to our market size. And A total TAM means total addressable market, also called total available market, is a term that is typically used to reference the revenue opportunity available for a product or service. A TAM is anyone who does any work from home in a workspace, and this represents about 2.2 billion people. Serviceable available market represents the portion of the TAM that can be served by a company's product and services. In our case, the SAM makes up about 400 million people. Serviceable obtainable market, or share of market, represents the portion of the SAM that can be realistically captured and served by us. This amount consists mainly of North American people who work from home primarily in Vancouver, Canada, since most of our team is based there. For our serviceable obtainable market, this number would make up around 100,000 people who we can serve. For our traction with customers, we have all worked hard and have contacted roughly 50 interior designers and 50 potential customers. Through our contacting, we have received a couple of responses from the designers, and we have spoken with the customer base. With our analysis and reaching out to people, we have learned that there is clear interest in our product and that we had decent interaction with our website, with about 70 visits in the last 20 days.
Okay, so as for our competitive analysis, I'll be covering our competitors, how we're different, and how we'll be changing in the future. Our competitors include design firms, Houzz, Upwork, and many more. But as you can see, we're different because they don't cover the same bases that we do. We focus on your workspace and being wellness-based. We want to make sure that you're optimizing your productivity and overall quality of your working at home experience. While these other companies, they don't focus on working from home, so you don't know if they're tackling all the issues that you might be facing. As for our future growth, after we finish all our excess MVP testing, we'll be expanding our network to more interior designers and be negotiating a lower price for our customers so it'll be more accessible to more people. We will also start charging a small flat fee to the customers so they can have an access to our interior design network. And around 1 or 2 months after we've completed this, we'll start advertising on more social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. We'll also start evolving and expanding our website to make the process easier for interior designers to do their job. And this will also make it more appealing for the interior designers to stay on our website once we connect them with their customers. And 6 to 8 months after this, we'll start charging for commissions or even having a paywall. And this price will be decided through serving our customer. Thank you so much for listening. We're now open to any questions and feedback.
Tony, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can start. Thank you for the presentation. It was really awesome. I have a couple of points of feedback, so less like specific questions, but a couple of points that I would say in terms of like areas of improvement are, you started with a team slide, which was good. I would maybe still start with the problem first. So have some clear stat that's attention grabbing, start with the problem and then jump into the team. When you talked about the team, you just said, like, we're the right team for this problem because we're the right team for the problem. Really dive into kind of the details of why you care about this problem, why you're the right team to lead this company. It doesn't have to, like, no one's going to expect you to have insane amounts of domain expertise or years of experience underneath your belt, but tying together a story and a narrative behind why this problem, why you guys are best equipped to solve it is important. So if you're going to spend time talking about the team, which you should, I think that's an area that you guys could add towards. Other things that I would say is, like, in general, I think the pitch could use some work in terms of the content there is good and the structure and the topics that are covered is good. But the idea of a pitch is to generate excitement for an investor. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, the idea of a pitch is to essentially generate excitement for an investor. So in certain parts of the pitch, it sounded like you were reading off of script, which is fine. I think most people have a script ready and you should have a couple bullet points, but you want to make sure that the energy is there, the tone is there, the body language is there, that you're really generating excitement amongst like who you're talking to. Tell me about, like, where is the world today? Where is the world going to be in the next 5 years? And why is your company going to bridge that gap? Why is it going to be necessary for where society is growing? towards the future. I think there's a lot of trends in the space of remote work today that you could have pulled from. So like spending habits, like I remember reading about stats of during COVID, because more people were remote, money that they would have spent on vacation is spent in other areas of their life. That could be a great trend to pull from. Like more people are willing to spend and invest in a better work from home setup. Talk about how like remote work is here to stay. Like the status quo has changed. There's going to be more freelancers. The gig economy is growing. You have more independent workers who are starting their own small businesses from home. Like lots of trends that you could pull from to generate excitement amongst the investor or whoever you're pitching to. So I would recommend buying a couple of those, and then trying to quantify as much as possible. But overall, I think it's an awesome idea. I could definitely use a space revamp. I've been to scrap together a work from home setup that was only supposed to be for a couple of months. And now it's been like, what, 2.5 years? I definitely want to check out the website.
Yeah, I think I would really echo everything that Johnny said. I think that was really good feedback. The biggest point I would have to add is just really consider, like, why is this the right solution to this problem? That's not really something that you addressed in your pitch. Like, you went from lots of people are unhappy working from home, we're doing interior design. I would really consider adding more to why you decided to bridge the gap that way. And especially, again, we've mentioned this to the teams that presented before, but really quantifying, like we talked to some people, it was like, okay, who did you talk to? What did they say? Are they actually willing to pay for this? Because I might think my office is not great, but also might expect my employer to give me money to solve that problem instead of being willing to pay for it myself. And all of those things are really important for you to, one, know about as you're designing your business, but also be able to present it in that way to make a compelling case around why interior designing is a good spend. The other thing I would challenge you on is just your business model and expected economics. I think the TAM SAM was well broken down. And again, I think to Johnny's earlier point to another group, it's really hard to calculate some of these things at that time, especially as you're still designing that product. So don't over focus on that. But Michael, you brought up like focusing geographically on addressing Vancouver. I think there's no real reason you have to focus geographically on a tech-based marketplace product. So just really considering some of those assumptions. And then a less important comment, but really nice slides. Love how you kept it all consistent. Really nice branding on that. So whoever did that, love it.
Thank you.
Thanks. I don't know how we are on time, but any questions you all have for us?
Not really. I think you covered a lot of things, and there were some really good points. There are some things that we were a little bit iffy on because we got contrasting feedback, but I think it'll just depend on how we and who we want to present to is what we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think outlining some of that feedback would have been really helpful, because the real question for me, if I'm assessing this, is just, I think this is a problem. And I think that there's a lot of solutions popping up out there. It's like, why is the solution better? And then when I'm considering the competitive landscape, what you presented was like, here's the competitive landscape for other people that also provide interior design support. What I would be interested in is what's the competitive landscape for all the other things I could be investing in if I'm trying to solve this problem for myself? Because the immediate jump there is not necessarily interior design support. And so I think you really have to make the case around that and around why you focused on that versus, I don't know, a stipend for employees or anything really, I don't know, something different. Like I face this problem too with products I've sold in the past, where like the biggest competitor isn't necessarily another provider, but it's actually just different alternatives for solving the same problem. Johnny, anything to add?
Nope, I fully agree with those points. Yeah, just talk to your users and they will guide you on what they want. They probably won't guide you explicitly on what to build, but they'll still give a lot of insights as to what directions that you want to take the company.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great job, team. Thank you so much. And I'm going to now bring you all back to attendees and invite the next team onto the floor, but way to go, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time.
So for today's session, we have one more team left to present. So I'm just going to invite everyone onto the stage, onto the panelist platform.
Hey everyone, let me share my screen right now.
Hey everyone, how are you guys doing?
Hi.
I'm sorry, but I just want to let you guys know in advance that I'm giving my pitch at school right now, and I had to get out of class early, so I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Or if I were to turn off my camera or mute, it's not to avoid you guys, just because someone's just coming. But try my best.
No.
All right, so yeah, that totally happened. That's what teen entrepreneurship really is. It's like making time for it given school and your education. Today, I'm going to welcome Team 14 onto the floor. This is the Startup Wonderful, and we have our presenters Parker O'Hara, Gavin Poor, Temitoyo Brown, and Jacob Beauchamp. So feel free to take it away whenever you guys are ready.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Gavin, and I am so excited to present to you Wonderful, our revolutionary meal planning service that allows teenage athletes to optimize their nutrition and change their lifestyle for the better. We asked ourselves, how might we as a team create a platform for young, ambitious athletes to track their nutritional goals? And as athletes ourselves, we understood this on a personal level. And we realized there isn't a real structured or organized lifestyle or planning system to help athletes track their nutritional goals on a way that aligns with their own values and morals. With 53% of dinners planned within the hour of eating them, we knew that most dinners made in America today are not conscious of affordability or of nutrition and are simply made based on convenience, which can be a huge liability to athletes if they are trying to remain consistent in an organized meal prepping fashion.
So why is this a relevant issue? Well, we know that younger people are becoming more involved with self-improvement. As an example from a 2021 study, over half of Gen Z and millennials in the study said that they are cooking more often than they did before the pandemic. Additionally, the CEO of Planet Fitness admitted that teenagers were the largest demographic for the gym's memberships during 2021. And so these facts show us that young athletes in high school and college are eager to improve their diets and lifestyles. We actually know this on a personal level. I myself am a 3-sport athlete. My partner Gavin is a 2-sport athlete, and our developer Parker is heavily invested in MMA. All three of us are amateur cooks, but we're all very aware of the importance of a healthy diet, which is what inspired us to build Wonderful. With that being said, our vision at Wonderful is to create next level, unique meal plans for our users that are catered to their nutritional goals. We wanted to make meal plans that are one of a kind due to the fact that each customer has different needs. And we at Wonderful thought of a few ways we could do this, but before we implemented any of them, we made sure to get some research from the current market. We released 2 surveys to our target audience regarding issues they face during cooking and grocery shopping. And what we learned from that is that over 85% of individuals reported that the 2 biggest issues they faced from grocery shopping included uncertainty about what to buy and difficulty tracking the expenses of their ingredients. We also found a common response that athletes want to be able to track their nutrition through calories and other macros, such as proteins and carbs. But at the same time, they didn't want to be eating the same 5 meals that fit their needs over and over again.
The MVP works when the customer signs up using a Google form. We then take the information from the form and put it in our Wonderful search engine to find recipes. We then select recipes and put them into a template on Canva to make it look visually pleasing. Once we're finished all this, we email the meal plan to the customers. All this takes about 30 minutes. The sign-up form allows us to gather information about the customer, allergies and dislikes, macro goals such as protein, carbs, and calories, and the amount of meals they want per day. The search engine is used to take data from the form and give us recipes based on the data. For each recipe shown, we are given serving size, price of meal, nutrition, ingredient, instructions, and more. The search engine works using an API called Spoonacular, which has well over 5,000 recipes, all with information on every single recipe. Then it goes through a program made in JavaScript and put on a website using HTML and CSS. All this creates our Wonderful search engine.
Now we'll go over what the customer will receive in their inbox. As you can see, the client will receive a week of recipes to eat for each day of the week, depending on how many meals they requested to eat in the sign-up form. Next, the customer will get the information on each individual meal we've given them to satisfy their macro needs, like the price, macros, instructions, and ingredients with information on where to get it in your store. All that using Wonderful's search engine.
Looking at customer traction, we've had an abundance of visitors with 227 unique visits to our website, wonderful.pro, 80 Instagram followers, and 20 signups, 10 of them in the last 24 hours. Looking at our graph, it is abundantly clear that our market and our niche we have addressed correctly and are gaining in a community immediately. We even have proof with real customer testimonials, 2 of which are real athletes. Shivraj Singh is a volleyball player at MVP Academy Volleyball, and he says that Wonderful helps him meet all the macro goals he set for himself. Zach Pintaluga is a basketball player at Vice City United, one of the best AAU basketball teams in all of Florida. And he says that Wonderful provides a clear and precise method of organizing his meals daily, allowing him to prepare the food quickly and fit in with his busy practice and game schedule. Looking at our unit economics, our cost annually is about $5 for our API and about $4.30 for our domain. For our current profit, we charge 2 different plans, $4.99 for our 1-month plan and $11.99 for our 3-month plan. Looking at a potential partnership deal that we can do with the YMCA, which is a local fitness and recreational center near us, with a team with 8 different teams and 25 athletes per team, charging them on our 3-month plan, we're expecting a potential profit of $2,389, which is just the first of many potential partnership deals.
If we take a look at our product market, some of our biggest competitors include companies like Mealime, Budget Bites, and meal kit companies such as HelloFresh. And although Wonderful shares similarities with these companies, there's one key difference that sets us apart. For most meal planning services, users must plan meals first and then track their macros after eating it. At Wonderful, we work backwards. We track your macros for you first so that your meals already correlate to your diet goals, which save you time. And on top of that, Intent isn't as easy to use as us. Budget Bites doesn't offer plans focused around macros, and both of them aren't as affordable as for a young demographic.
Looking at our market strategies, we understood that our audience are target athletes aged 17 to 24 that are interested in self-improvement. We realized that there are many forms of marketing we could do with word of mouth, handing out flyers at local gyms, and additionally with social media marketing, we created an Instagram page with a trendy, young, aesthetic look and follow athlete micro-influencers, meaning that we can expand our following and get people to love our product as much as we do. In addition to this, looking at our website analytics, we can track the website visits and also our newsletter opens through Wix Analytics and be able to consistently check how many people are entering a website and design our marketing campaigns around that.
In our first quarter, we plan to add a personalized supplement plan to further the personalization of Wonderful. We then plan to automate the process of making the recipes using Google Cloud API. In our second quarter, we will set up getting paid advertisement on Instagram, YouTube, and more. And lastly, we plan to convert from a business to customer model to a business to business model, such as sports team and fitness centers. Instead of having to take data manually and taking 30 minutes, we'll be using Google Cloud API to fetch all the data we need and put everything into the search engine, including the meal plans. Then it will automatically send a message or email to our customers very quickly.
Now for the founders behind Wonderful. First, we have Jacob Poltron, the head designer, Cyrus Elmberg, head marketer, Gavin Porn, project manager, Parker O'Hara, head developer, and me, Timothy Brown, data analyst.
Our ask for you guys is outreach within the nutrition/fitness industry as we are still trying to engage a big community. In addition, we're asking to help us with partnerships with additional fitness/recreational centers, as that will get the bulk of our profit and deals. In addition, we want feedback on how to improve. We understood that we are still a up and coming startup and we want to do everything we can to be as appealing to customer base as well as we can.
With that being said, we'd all love to connect with you to actually give you a firsthand look at what we offer. If you share us your email, we'll send you a complimentary meal plan that's personalized solely to you. And if not, you can also check us out on Instagram at @TheRealWonderful or on our website at wonderful.pro.
With this being said, thank you so much for your time, and we really hope that you can check out Wonderful as the wonderful meal planning service for you. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we'll now open up the floor to the judges for the Q&A and any feedback that you have.
Thank you. I just want to say amazing presentation. I love the energy from you all. I feel like it's very exciting, which is definitely what you want a pitch to be. So congratulations on that. I think you did a really good job of aligning your solution to who you are. So really nice work on presenting yourselves as athletes and making it clear why you chose to focus on that demographic. I think a couple of points of feedback, just consider leading with the problem instead of the platform solution, especially in the first slide. The question here should be more like, how do we help our customers, or present it in the voice of the customer, not necessarily how do we design a product. I think Johnny's mentioned this, and something we're always scanning for is just like, are these founders really obsessed with their customers and obsessed with solving problems for their customers? Because that's what makes really great products. I think you guys did a really good job in competitor differentiation. It was really clear how you're looking at yourself in the market and how you're differentiated in terms of process. Would definitely look to expand that beyond just meal plan providers to recipe providers more broadly, especially if that's where you're planning to close off the product loop, if you're not planning to expand to like actual meal service delivery, which is where a lot of your competitors were placed. The only other thing I would say, and we said this to I think every group, just really think about how you quantify your market research, where it came from, how you did it, who are you looking at, and really putting numbers around it. I think what could have been better during your presentation is, and something that generally I think is good for all pitches, is think about the story you're trying to tell. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a story in terms of this is the person and here's how we design the product, but more just what's your story? Maybe you were struggling with this problem, then you went out, talked to hundreds of people, and this is what you thought about solving. So really like capturing that within your pitch so that it's more so tied together, if that makes sense. And then also wanted to congratulate you all on including asks for presentation. I think that's really awesome, and hope that you will consider continuing with the business. I'll turn it over to you, Johnny.
Yeah, no, really good presentation. Totally agree with all the points. Definitely love the energy as well. I really like the survey slide where you had a breakdown of some of the common insights that you collected from the interviews. So that was really good. Might be worth also including the number of people that you interviewed to help, be a bit more powerful with that slide. But I think that was a really good slide as well. And I also really like the tie to your personal journeys, all as athletes, which was really good. But a couple of areas of improvement I would say is definitely agree on the quantify part, especially for like testimonials. We talked about this for some other groups as well, but try collecting an NPS score that you can use to really quantify how likely is someone to recommend this to a friend alongside a testimonial could be very powerful. I think for me, what I would spend more time thinking about is definitely the competitor landscape. You had a couple of ideas on how you would differentiate, but the meal planning space is extremely competitive. Right. And the last thing you want to do is get into a price war and spiral down into offering the cheapest service out there. There's actually a really awesome article by a guy named Peter Thiel. He writes about how like competition is for losers. That's the name of the article. It's called Competition is for Losers. And the idea is like you want to avoid as much competition as you possibly can. And it's hard, right? Because this is a very competitive environment, a very competitive space. But what I would recommend thinking about is like, what's the unique problem here for young athletes, right? As a high school student, what unique problems do you have compared to a new grad or like a young adult, right? You have limitations on, you generally have less freedom. Your budget's probably smaller. You're probably not going to have a car if you can even drive yet. There are certain specific problems that might face a high school student versus somebody who is 20 something, living by themselves, is working full time and stuff like that. So maybe think about like, how can you tailor this more specifically to young high school students would be a good way to differentiate yourself, and then really focusing the solution around those unique problems that you've identified. And I think another thing that would have been very powerful, like alongside of the problem statement as well, like once you start exploring this a little bit more, is like you as a high school student right now, what is your day-to-day routine in trying to optimize around a specific meal? Walk me through what is the existing status quo. And the general idea here is to highlight just how hard and how annoying it is to plan your meals and get the right nutrition that you need, and then contrast that with the solution. There's a lot of examples you can find online. Like I had a buddy of mine recently started like an HR payroll system company, and the story he always likes to tell is like the companies that he was focusing on specifically, they were DAOs, but like they were doing expense tracking all in Excel spreadsheets. Like they were writing down the names of which employees were getting paid, writing down how much they should be paid, and then automatically like wiring the money all manually. And so that was really powerful. It was like, okay, you have these people who are running companies that are really just literally just tracking who they should be paying on Excel spreadsheets, and then contrasting it with, well, here's a solution, an all-in-one HR payroll system. You don't have to manage things on Excel spreadsheet, much better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think to be able to highlight, well, what is the status quo right now, and how does a student go about optimizing their meals, if they can even do that, and then contrasting that to your solution could really be more powerful in the pitch that you give. But otherwise, it was a really solid pitch. So congrats on everything that's been achieved so far.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we have time, I'd love to hear what you all are thinking is next. Are you looking to continue building this out? How did you decide this was the right market?
I guess I'll start off with the first part of our next journey from here. So we understood, contacted a lot of fitness centers, such as the YMCA is really close to me. And we realized that we could partner with them. They have a lot of sanctioned teams, sports teams. And from there, we can build a wider clientele, because all those people are looking to stay on the same organized basis of what they're trying to eat. So if Wonderful provides that platform, we're able to get all these sports teams on one consistent like meal planning service that's all personalized to them, but still allows them to reach the best macronutrient goals for that specific sport. That's what we're trying to optimize, make more personalized. Parker, if you want to talk about like how we got here.
All right, so right now, so our plan like for automation in the future, which will fully change everything, because our MVP is super rugged. It takes about 30 minutes per meal plan. It's very annoying to do. Our plan in the future is to, instead of using like Canva to visualize it, because what always happens is we're really stuck by the boundary of Canva and Google Slides when we're trying to make it look visually pleasing. So our solution is to make our own. So we're just going to, on our search engine, basically its own product. We plan in the future to sell our search engine as its own product as well. They'll be able to, we'll connect it to an account system and then connect the meal plan to that, making it 10 times easier than having to manually do all this stuff. And we're going to do all that stuff through Google API and just hours of work, which I'm excited for.
I also love, Parker, how you outline the stack that you're currently using versus where you outline automations. I think it's really cool that you're thinking about that.
All right, I think that wraps it up for this session then. Thank you so much, Wonderful, for presenting today. And I'd particularly really like to thank our judges who gave up their time on a Friday to come out and support these aspiring and young entrepreneurs. And thank you so much to all of the students, of course, who shared and presented. We really appreciate the judges' role today, that they play in creating the demo day as it is today and making it what it is. So thank you for that feedback. Students really appreciate that. So for everyone who is still watching, feel free to join the link that I'm sending right now into the chat. This is the next session for the rest of our startups to pitch at, and feel free to join that and continue to watch the startups as we continue to have pitches going on throughout the day. Feel free to stay up to date with what BetaCamp is up to. We have some amazing boot camps on finance and coding and the climate coming up. Be sure to check out our website. And if you'd like to stay up to date with where our startups are heading in the future and other BetaCamp endeavors, then check out our LinkedIn page for sure as well. So thank you so much, judges. Thank you to everyone watching today, and of course, our amazing students.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah. Congrats, y'all.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah.